At this mosque in North Seattle, signs of sympathy and support coming from a community grappling with the grief after what happened more than 7,000 miles away. In Christchurch, New Zealand, the attack on two mosques that left 49 people dead is the reason why so many are showing up in Seattle to let worshipers know they're not alone. Here, there's solidarity in the form of flowers, cards, and candles. And here, in Lynn Reed's living room, he's been thinking of home.
I just feel like you want to be with the people of New Zealand at the moment as they're going through in their grief and mourning.
Lynn is from Australia and serves as the president of the Australian New Zealand American Society in Seattle.
When you look at the statistics, that New Zealand was #2 in the world as being the safest place behind Iceland. And for something like this, it is a dark day. There's disbelief at first that someone would go in and do that in a place like New Zealand, and I was just deeply saddened for those people who had gone to church to pray.
Also expressing their grief is the Council on American Islamic Relations in Washington. They call what happened violent hate that is unacceptable anywhere, and particularly horrifying in a house of worship. They don't want people afraid to follow their faith. And at this mosque, one worshiper after another did not allow the terror attacks to stop them from practicing what they believe. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
The Council on American Islamic Relations says it is working with law enforcement, mosque leaders, and elected officials to ensure that places of worship are secure.